Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Star Trek Warp Onyx, Star Trek Adventures, Modiphius 2d20 system, Warp Onyx campaign, The Tales of Security Lieutenant Archibald. At this point, Enterprise NX-01 has been going through the beta quadrant, and they left Kronos, and they've made their way to Vebulax, to Ryshar, and now the science community says we want to go into full science stance. We want to put an array of scientific equipment on the Enterprise NX-01, and we want to go straight to the Romulan border, right? The border of the Romulan Empire. And so Lieutenant Security Archibald comes forward and says, there are rumors within Starfleet that the Romulans have the ability to cloak ships, right? We've never dealt with any species that can cloak a ship, and that would be a different security concern. We can go, but everybody needs to be aware that this would be extremely dangerous. So Captain Archer makes a command decision and says, the science benefits of going to the edge of the Romulan Empire are worth it, so we're going to go. At that point, Starfleet Officer Mayweather, the pilot of the Enterprise NX-01, decides to get ready, and he's going to jump, to the Romulan Empire edge, and he decides to go warp 6. Before they do that, Security Lieutenant Archibald actually meets with his crew and says, hey, how can we find a cloaked ship? I don't want to just arrive and then have a cloaked ship attack us. And so basically one of his security crewman, Norvin, comes forward and says, I have an idea. I think what we should do is we should put like back in the 1980s to the 2000s, when fighter jets would fly and as someone would shoot a rocket at them, they would use chaff, right? And this would make the rockets explode. What I think we should do is use small packs of iron and spray out millions of small points of iron into the atmosphere and listen for pings, right? Now, this would be highly destructive, and if this went off at any time other than when the when we were looking for a cloaked ship, this could be very dangerous. This absolutely would kill anybody who was outside of the ship with any type of a spacesuit, and it would be quite dangerous. Just no two ways about it. This would be exceptionally dangerous. However, it absolutely would have a strong possibility of finding a cloaked ship, right? So Lieutenant Archibald said, Security Lieutenant Archibald's like, great idea, let's do it, put it into action, right? At that point, Starfleet pilot, Enterprise NX-0 pilot, Mayweather is ready to attempt a warp 6 jump. One thing that's really interesting is I had something in the can to go wrong, and I had threat, and so but I make all NPCs rolls in the open. All rolls are, I never fudge rolls ever. And so I made this in the open, and Mayweather has become a phenomenally talented pilot, and so he is able to jet out and get the job done. And on the other side, we arrive on the other side near the Romulan Empire with the new cloaked ship deterrents installed. Actually, on the other side, on the other side near the Romulan Empire, they actually install these Romulan cloaked ship finders on the Enterprise NX-01, based on the design on the idea from Security Officer Norvin, and the engineering and science teams put that together and actually make it a reality. and actually install it on the Enterprise NX-01. And then at that point, they have reached the Romulan Empire edge. There's a little bit of danger, and this was, and also one of the things that I kind of wanted to like talk to you about is this is an online game, an online Star Trek. So this Star Trek Adventures campaign is online. One dungeon master, one dragon master, and I really, and one of the things that's awesome is the scheduling flexibility. So this night we really only had about a 25-minute session, right? And that was it. That was all that happened. One thing that also just I cannot believe how well it fits is I never really realized it, but like, Star Trek has a flow and an ebb, and it doesn't need to be filled with action and weapons and every minute of the session, right? Like, whereas Dungeons and Dragons really has this, what are we doing now? Where are we going? What are we defeating? How many hit points? It's just a completely different rhythm with Star Trek Adventures, Modiphius 2d20 campaign. It's really, really fascinating. I really loved it. So that was this session. And next time we'll continue with the tales of Security Lieutenant Archibald. Thank you for letting me share my humble opinion on this campaign with you. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.